It's a bit of a hard act to follow, Kieran, but Cornelius Lorne Dick in our house was simply referred to as Cork, or Uncle Corny. When you knocked on Uncle Corny's door, it would open, a large smile would appear on his face. He would acknowledge you by name and envelop you in a great, crushing bear hug. You would be ushered in, and after being assured that things were well with you and your world, you would be drawn into a conversation, usually a conversation about serious things, like what is the meaning of life? What is the state of the world? Or some topic that he was currently reading up on. Then you would be invited to a finely set table where Kay, one of the world's best cooks, would serve a dinner of freshly baked buns, roast chicken, and apple pie. When you left, you knew you were family, you knew you were loved. Cornelius was born in Siberia on May 8, 1927. He was named after his maternal grandfather, Cornelius David Harder, at Church Albert. His second name was added later, and outside of the family, Lorne was the name he used. At the age of 2, his parents fled with him and their 2 other children, Catherine, an older sister, and Peter, 10 days old, to Moscow to seek immigration visas. These visas were granted in October 1929, and the Dicks were on their way to join family members already in Rosemary, Alberta. This journey took 16 months, as Mother was delayed leaving Europe due to eye infection. In 1934, our parents bought a farm in Rosemary, Alberta, and settled down. Lorne remembers his first chore was to help Mom pick up dried cow patties, used as fuel for cooking. He started school at age 6½, and his lasting memory of that period was of Miss Reed rapping his head with her long fingernails and the pungent smell of dustbane, a compound used to clean wooden classroom floors. After completing grade 8, Lorne felt that he had learned all he needed to know to be a farmer, and he left school. However, he soon learned that his education was not quite done after all. He and brother Peter were experimenting with cigarette smoking, using the Eaton's catalog for cigarette paper and stuffing from an old car seat for tobacco. They lit the end, inhaled deeply, and almost choked to death. That settled the smoking issue for both of them. In a more serious vein, after attending Vacation Bible School in the summer of 1943, Lorne committed his life to Christ and was baptized by his grandfather Harder. Having Lorne on the farm suited our dad just fine, as he was anxious to get back to doing what he liked best, cabinetry and house building. For the next 4 years, Lorne took on much of the farm work during the summer, and in the winter months attended Benno Bible Institute in Didsbury, Alberta. After completing the MBI program, Lorne decided to complete his high school education at Rostron Junior College in Rostron, Saskatchewan. By now, I, 4 years his younger, had caught up to him and joined him at RGC for grade 12. We shared a dorm room, I on the upper bunk, he on the lower. The classroom had double desks, so we shared a desk. He was a serious student and was elected graduating class valedictorian. I took more advantage of being free from parental oversight and morning and evening farm chores. We both had girlfriends. By the end of the year, I was jilted. Lorne and Kay were making wedding plans. Lorne and Katie Coop from Spring Ridge, Alberta, had attended MBI together for 4 years and were both in their 3rd year at RGC, but nary a spark between them until after Christmas of their final year at RGC, when they traveled together on choir tours. They married on August 18, 1950, and remained sweethearts for more than 69 years. In the fall of 1950, Lorne and Kay enrolled in Canadian Mennonite Bible College in Winnipeg to pursue further theological study. A year later, their career plans had changed, and the decision was that Lorne would apply for admission to the Faculty of Education at the University of Alberta in Edmonton. Terry was born in July, so Kay became a stay-at-home mom. My parents decided that I should go to university as well, and were thinking that if I lived with Lorne and Kay, and if some extra meat and preserves were provided from the farm, the additional cost would be minimal. I had nothing better planned, so I consented. I doubt that Lorne and Kay were asked what they thought about such an arrangement. Only later, in retrospect, did I realize what an outrageous assumption this was, and what an imposition I must have been. The generosity of spirit required of Lorne, and especially of Kay, to have a brother-in-law become a constant presence in their young family was enormous. To their credit, they never made me feel that I was imposing, and we managed 4 university years living together without a breakdown in relationship. Lorne and I, starting at RGC, realized that we were, by temperament and by intellect, very compatible, and developed a special bond that allowed this arrangement to survive. Only a saintly person like Kay would have been able to accommodate it. In August 1953, Ed was born, and Lorne and Kay became a family of 4. 1954 represented another milestone year when Lorne was ordained as lay minister by his home church in Rosemary, Alberta. This meant that he would have a dual career for much of his adult life. Lorne graduated with a Bachelor of Education degree in 1955 and obtained a teaching position at the Lethbridge Collegiate Institute, where he remained for 11 years, in the 5 years as head of the English department. During these years, he also served as lay minister to the Coville Mennonite Church. Also during this time, 2 more children were born to Lorne and Kay, Robin in 1957 and Heather in 1964. In 1967, Lorne was granted a sabbatical to pursue graduate studies at the University of Calgary. After completing a master's degree, he was hired to head the history department at Crescent Heights High School in Medicine Hat. Lorne left Crescent Heights when the Medicine Hat College appointed him Vice President, Student and Community Services. 2 years later, he was appointed Academic Vice President. A major contribution was Lorne's role in advancing the programs offered by the Medicine Hat College Brooks campus, a city about 12,000 population and 100 kilometers west of Medicine Hat, and close to the communities where Lorne grew up. During a sabbatical year in 1977, Lorne enrolled in graduate studies leading to a PhD degree at the University of Arizona in Tucson. He completed the course requirements, but the research component of the program was interrupted when the program supervisor was killed in an automobile accident. While in Medicine Hat, Lorne and Kay attended and were involved in the ministry of the Crestwood Mennonite Brethren Church. As a number of persons who held membership in the General Conference Mennonite Church were also attending Crestwood, Lorne became instrumental in persuading the church leaders to establish what is called the Inter-Mennonite Individual Membership, allowing non-MB Mennonites full membership but without changing the identity of Crestwood as an MB church. Lorne was a voracious reader and active in writing and publishing church and family histories. In 1974, Lorne and Kay, together with Walter and Mabel Paco and Jacob and Hella Harder, compiled and published the story of our grandfather, Elder C.D. Harder, and his descendants, titled The Harder Heritage. In 1980, Lorne compiled, edited, and published the Mennonite Conference of Alberta, a history of its churches and institutions. And in 2003, he authored the Dick family history titled In the Shadow of the Almighty, The Life and Story of Peter and Margarita Dick. Volunteerism included a year teaching at the Lithuanian Christian College in Lithuania. Lorne retired from his teaching administrative career in 1989. His brother Eric was invited to attend the occasion of the retirement party sponsored by the college. Eric states that it was obvious that Lorne was very much appreciated and highly respected by his colleagues and the students of Medicine Hat College. Lorne and Kay retired to Abbotsford, where Lorne's parents, his brother Art, and sister Linda lived. Very soon, he was to discover his business acumen. In 1991, he became the acting manager of the Golden Age Society, a position he held for 6 years. By the end of his term, the old building the society occupied was replaced by the present Garden Park Towers, an 18-story multi-purpose building housing condos and a range of professional offices. After leaving the society, Lorne and his son-in-law Chris established a metalworks business. As the business prospered, more space was needed, a farm was purchased, buildings were built or renovated to accommodate business and residential needs for the two families. On one occasion, a large pile of gravel on the yard needed spreading. Chris, who had a natural talent for operating complex machines, suggested to Lorne and me that, as we seemed to be looking for something to do, and as there were a couple of earth-moving machines standing nearby, we might undertake the job. Lorne got on the caterpillar with a pusher blade, I got on the backhoe, and we proceeded to prove that what came natural to Chris was beyond the skills of a couple of guys with university degrees. Frida and I were fortunate to undertake a number of road trips and cruises with Lorne and Kay and to spend several winters together in Yuma, Arizona. They loved playing games and were fiercely competitive. But when the tension got high, Kay always came up with a fitting low German joke or expression bringing us back to reality and raucous laughter. The last time Frida and I visited Lorne was to celebrate his birthday last May. He was living in a small apartment in Menahoe, lonely, struggling with mobility, and wishing only that his days would end soon. We spoke on the phone frequently, and the last time we spoke, he was recalling with great pleasure their recent family reunion. He had recently engaged a cleaning lady, and now looked forward to her visits when, after the cleaning was done, they would sit and visit over a cup of tea. The phone calls invariably concluded with Lorne mentioning how grateful he was for the generous support he received from family and friends. The news of his passing was a painful blessing. Lorne, you have always been the greatest big brother a guy could have. I will miss you, but grant you your eternal rest. Rest in peace.